The Expansion Zone with Sonia Barrett.
Everybody's talking about consciousness. Everybody wants that eternal kiss. Yeah, everyone's saying there's more than this. Everyone wants to follow their own bliss. Talking about one love, one blood, one light in everyone. One life to give each other. We are sisters and brothers. We sing Om Shanti.
On the Expansion Zone, we examine life and our quest to understand who and what we are and of the vastness of human potentials. We explore the making of our world from quantum physics to parapsychology, health, sociology, and philosophy, along with practical living. You are reminded of the possibilities in creating personal change. So for an hour, we'll stimulate and expand the mind.
Om Shanti, 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 Shanti. See the world. Let's do it together. Shanti, 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 Shanti. It's time to wake up. Shanti, Shanti, to a brighter day. Realize that Shanti, Shanti, love is a way. Om Shanti, 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 Shanti. Let's do it together.
Well, welcome once again to another edition of the Expansion Zone with Sonia Barrett. I'm, of course, your host, Sonia Barrett, and thank you for tuning in on this Monday. And, as you know, well, we're still in very interesting times. We don't know when interesting will become something else. But in the meantime, I wrote a couple of things the other day and put it out on social media just as a reminder for folks. And that is to pull back and observe in order to conserve our energy and emotional output. Otherwise, the game will swallow you. And it's very easy for us to get pulled in. And the quote that I partnered with that is, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. And of course, that's by Albert Einstein. Now, today's topic is really going to be about removing blocks around money and business goals, particularly, at this time, because we are in a time of many transitions for people in terms of career, in terms of their business, just overall, money, relationships, so on. So my guest today is, and I'm going to make sure that I attempt to say her name correctly. My guest today is Dihessa.
Yes, Dihessa Bodjona.
Bodjona. All right. Okay, got it. And so I am referring to her as she deals with bioenergy, business, and life goals coach. That's what I decided I thought that's what she does.
Okay.
So, all right. So before bringing her in, of course, I mentioned earlier about pulling back, but also often we forget that life cycles through with no two moments alike. And so, however, it is us that drag the baggage of our stories into every next moment and into every next day. And so we do say that, well, we can't help it, but like everything else, these are habits, normalized and socialized human behavior. It's how we become stuck. So the quote that I wrote as a reminder is this, that we do have the power. You do hold the power to your mind and to your will. So here's the quote. This day is new. This moment is new. I am new, and my choices today will be new, and tomorrow will again be new. All right. So on that note, now let's get a little bit of information here, a little bio here on our guests. Dihessa Bodjona is an
Yes.
entrepreneur who became passionate about sharing the impact of tapping into one's own bioenergy to release blocks created by wounds from the past so that one can live a life full of love, joy, money, and abundance. So, anyway, welcome, Dehesa, to the expansion zone.
Oh, thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, thank you. And of course, your work is, I think, very significant right now because there's so many people trying to make decisions about what they're going to do. And I think it's a time to be able to embrace our passion, different passions, and to be able to be open to exploring, what is possible and where we can go from there. Now, you've studied what is known as, what is it, body brain yoga. Do you want to go into a little bit of that? Because your work is heavily based on some of these principles, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So a few years back, actually, I myself was having quite some challenges in my life. It actually started with the fact that my son, my youngest son at the time, he was, I believe he was 4 years old at the time, yes. And he was having a lot of challenges in preschool. When we thought we had a perfectly amazing son, which we always did think that, when he went to preschool, a lot of things started transpiring, which got us, searching for therapists and searching for testing him to see if he had any like learning disabilities. And so to make a very long story short, that is when really my journey into looking into energy started. Because he was having such a challenging time and we didn't understand what was going on. Again, we went to, like a psychologist, psychiatrist, he got tested, big words came up like Asperger or like autism or like lots of different words, ADHD and stuff like that came up. And then I ended up encountering a friend of my mom's who met my son, and he just said a couple of sentences to me. He said, "There's nothing wrong with your son." And I said, "What do you mean there's nothing wrong with my son? All the specialists say that there's something definitely wrong with him." And he said, "No, what's going on is that your son is so sensitive to energy, everyone's energy around him, so much so that the only way he knows how to deal and manage chaotic energy around him is to withdraw within and to check out of this world." And he noted that when you learn how to manage your energy well, when you learn to give him a energetically safe space at home, then he knows that there's a place for him to be. Then he'll come out of his shell. And so that is when our journey started. Little did I know that was only the tip of the iceberg. Little did I know that actually was a journey into discovering myself. And that's how I discovered also body and brain trainings and discovered the power of tapping into your own bioenergy, a power of tapping into the brain, really, for releasing any trauma that may have happened in the past, whether it was traumatic or not, whether it was even like something very gentle but created some sort of limited beliefs or limitations around preconceptions and stuff like that. With energy, you can release that. With energy, we can all tap into the infinite being that is within us and really connect with, I guess, universal consciousness, like I call it. That's a
Wow.
very long way of introducing myself.
Yes. No. That's so awesome that you expressed that, you shared that, because I think in today's world there's so many people that are dealing with many of these things with their children.
Yeah.
And we didn't know we were going to mention that today, but I think it's very relevant, particularly now with people being home and having to work with their children in schooling them from home, and being basically, you have forced to spend more time with their children. So there are things that they're going to see, and there's moments of impatience. And I think for you to say this is very important, because perhaps someone may step back and go, well, maybe, it could be something very much like this that my child is dealing with, and they're treating them for something else, but the child can't express these things.
Yeah.
So that's really important. And also the parent might be experiencing some of these things.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Yeah. At the end of it all, what I ended up noticing and realizing is that everything is rooted in there, in our ability to connect with our inner self, right? No matter what problem we are having in our lives, whether it's financial, whether it's even medical, or whether it is, like feeling not so happy in our lives, feeling anxiety, feeling whatever it is that we are feeling, what I have come to realize is that what the root causes of all this is that there is a disconnect between who we are being at the moment and who we truly are. And through energy, we can reconnect. And through energy, we can at least become kind of like the observer in our lives, and find powerful solutions in our lives, pretty much. And also, like, the energy condition in our body plays such a huge role. I have come to notice and realize. So.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. When you say the energy conditions in our body plays a huge role, because we're using that, we're referencing business people who have been in business for a while, struggling entrepreneurs, and even in jobs. But right now we're talking about, I guess, more focus on that part of it, the business and the entrepreneurial and all of that. Can you talk about that a little bit more, please?
Yes, absolutely. So when a few years back, way before I even encountered this, my very, very first business was online marketing and website design. While I was doing that, actually it was quite a struggle at the time, finding, like, I was going on like websites like Craigslist and stuff like that to find clients, but it was very, very challenging. And so when I started my energy trainings, I noticed that whenever I'll do my energy trainings, I'll be energetically aligned in my body. It was much easier to get clients in my business. And when I wasn't, then like I was either struggling or really, it was such a fight. It was much more of a fight. And also when the energetic condition in my body, and I'll explain in a minute, wasn't like appropriate, or wasn't what I call now optimum, I actually also wasn't taking action, right? Back then I didn't realize, but now it's so like evident to me now that when we are energetically depleted in our body, a lot of the times, even though we may have lots of goals in our mind, even though we have ideas of what we want to create in our lives or in our business, first of all, because our energy is not focused, the energy condition is not optimum in our body, then we can't focus, right? Like, we can't take action. I couldn't take action, even though I had, like, at the beginning of the year, each time I had goals for the year, each time I had, a vision, this is what I'm going to do this year, or this is what I'm going to do this month, and so on and so forth. I didn't have enough energy to really focus, take focus action, take consistent focus action towards my goals and towards my dreams. And when I say optimum condition, actually it's very palpable. At the time, for example, because the energy in my body, this is not very well known actually. Now I know it, but in the past I didn't know. like when energy condition, for example, when energy is not circulating very well in your body, a lot of the times you may feel like cold hand. A lot of people will be feeling cold hands all the time, or cold feet all the time. And also when we are in that condition, like we are in our mind a lot, we daydream a lot, we start tasks, right? We can start one task after another, but then we can't complete any of them because we keep feeling distracted all the time. And for me personally, at the worst of it, right? The condition looked something like I was having yeast infection and bladder infections all the time, because it's really related to the second, for those of you that are familiar, second energy center in our body, right? When that second energy center is not filled up with energy, then a lot of things, right? If this is your condition, you may recognize yourself in this. Well, like you may have some sort of issues in your gut area or reproductive areas, or maybe you may have like conditions like maybe lower back aches that keep coming up and going. Maybe in your condition also you might feel things like I did, yeast infection, very frequent yeast infections. At the worst of it, at the height of it, I was having bladder infections every single month. Every single month I was going to the doctors, and each time I was being told, you know what, maybe this antibiotic is not the right strain of it. Maybe let's change it. That went on for months. And then finally, I realized that it wasn't sure, like there's the physical, then there's the doctors and stuff like that. There was something about energy. And that energy for me personally, it's created for all of us. Like the energy condition in our body is created by our mind. What kind of ideas, what kind of preconceived ideas do I have in my life that is creating a certain energetic condition or physical condition in my body? For me, for example, I'll give you a simple example. It was really like as I was growing up and the way that I saw the dynamics between male and female in my country. I'm from Togo in West Africa. That's where I grew up. And the way that I saw the dynamic, one thing that I like literally automatically computed in my mind and in my you know, like as a preconceived idea was being a female is not such a good thing, right? So I completely rejected femininity. I completely rejected being a woman because I thought being a woman was
like a curse.
Exactly, was a curse and was not so empowering. Being a man is empowering, but being a woman, it's like you are the weakest of the weakest, and everybody like you don't have a voice and blah blah blah. And so that's the preconceived ideas that I had, and so that so that's the concept, the mind, right? The thoughts, the preconceptions that I have. And every preconception that we have, whether it's about money, whether it's about even like showing up, or whether it's about feeling like somebody else is going to judge us, so I'm so afraid I'm not going to show up, and so on and so on. It kind of has some sort of impact on specific parts of our bodies and our brain. Right? Specific parts of our bodies and our brain. The lucky thing is that through your body and through our brain, we can kind of reverse that, right? Which is how it happened for me. I started changing the energy in my body, and all of a sudden, not only did I heal the yeast infections and also the bladder infections, but all of a sudden, I started showing up fearlessly. I started feeling more vibrant in my life. My energy was much brighter. As I started really taking action, inspired action, and it changed everything. It changed everything. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a powerful story and explanation about this kind of transformation that you went through, and so many people are wishing that they could find a way to be on the other side of, you know, of how they've been feeling. And I liked it when you said that being able to take inspired action.
Yeah.
And so many people, yes, they go through the goals and the dreams that they have, and there's strong intention that they would like to do it, but then when time comes, it doesn't happen. But I don't think people really realize this, the connection is what you're saying, this
Yeah.
this vast network that we have.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God, there's such a deep connection. But the beautiful part about this is that no matter what may have happened in the past, right? No matter what, like ideas we may have picked up here and there that's creating our condition now, or our reality now, no matter what has happened in the past, right now, right at the moment, right? We can choose, we can decide and focus our energy on what we want instead. A lot of the times people, when they come to me, right, and even I used to believe that before, think that if I've had some sort of blocks, this block has been created because my mother's mother did this XYZ, or my dad did this to me, or my uncle did this, and because of that, I'm carrying this fear, I'm carrying this information, and I'm carrying this preconceived idea that has been blocking me for the longest time, and I don't know what to do. And then many people think that, let me remove this block. If I remove this block, then I'll be able to pursue or create what it is that I want to create. Whether it's around money or around creating an impact or growing your business and stuff like that. The reality is that whatever we are living now, I heard somebody say this quote last time, I couldn't agree more. Our reality now is really a reflection of where our focus has been, where we have focused our energy, period, right? Energy doesn't lie. Energy is not it's not like you are a good person or you're not a good person. So no, energy only goes where focus goes, except because of our preconceived ideas, because of our preconception, because of maybe some fears or things that may have happened in our lives. A lot of the times we focus our energies on things that we may not necessarily be wanting, because we are so afraid, because we are so worried, because we are so much in our mind, because our preconditioning from, again, our past experience in growing up and stuff like that. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. But because we're saying, I don't want to be like that, I don't want to create that reality, I don't want to, because we are so helping and so focused on that, that's what we end up creating. But if we shift it, if we change it, and we really change the focus of our energy towards what we want instead, no matter what may have happened in the past, we keep bringing our focus back to what we want instead, then we can create that. The problem is that usually, again, just like I said earlier, our energy condition, which is really created by our past history, the information that we carry, always is kind of moving us towards focusing on what we don't want, right? So how do we fix it? How do we change this? So inside of us, we have kind of like, this is how I define it. Inside of us, we have our like conditioned self, right? Our conditioned, the information, but it's also about the brain, right? In the neocortex area, we have all the information that we have gathered in this lifetime and also in past lives, if you believe in that, right? From our ancestors. All that, even in our DNA, we have information that really is unconsciously directing and guiding everything that we do in our lifetime here. Right? A lot of the time, that's what's happening. So we have that part of who we are, but inside of us, we have this other part, which I call the part of us that's connected to universal consciousness. That part of us is pure light, the way that I see it. That part of us is pride. That part of us knows that there's nothing that we cannot do. That part of us knows that we are love. That part of us knows that we are complete, that there's nothing that we are missing, right? So when we are always focused on this other conditioned part of us, we recreate over and over and over again the conditioned, our conditioned, what do you call it? Life, kind of. I hope that makes sense.
No,
But
it is a conditioned life, right?
Yeah, but when we can we can find a way to focus on that other part of us, which is universal consciousness. From that, there's nothing from that space. There's nothing that is not impossible, right? There's not like you feel that there's so much freedom in that and so on and so forth. So, but what's the bridge? What's the bridge between our like conditioned life or that part of ourselves, which is really just a pile of information that we have gathered up until now, and then the other part of who we are, which knows that we are strong, we can do anything, everything is, ours and stuff like that. The bridge is energy. Through energy, you can connect those two parts of yourself, right? Through energy, you can connect those two parts of yourself. And the more we make it a habit, right? I always share this analogy. I'm sure you have heard it before. Is like since we have these two parts inside of ourselves, right? Which one grows the most, right? Which one will go? Like, is it the like which other people also call like the ego-driven part or the light-driven part? It's the part that we feed the most, that grows the most, that becomes the strongest part of who we are, right? The more we feed that other part, which is through energy, because that's what it's fed, that's what makes it grow, that light, that strength, that
right,
joy,
your
that
focus,
love.
the energy from your focus.
Yes, exactly. And so the more you can focus on that, the more you will gain the ability to look towards exactly what you want to create, as opposed to being kind of like enslaved to past memories
So
and
you
past.
don't want, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because the more we focus on that, the more we create the more we have all these negative emotions. And if anybody is here that is very familiar with the law of attraction, for example, that's how it works. When we are having negative emotions, when looking at something, that's because some way, somehow, there's kind of some sort of a gap, right? Between what we are thinking at the moment and what our universal consciousness knows. And a lot of the times when we are feeling negative emotions around something, that's because some way, somehow, we are creating the exact opposite.
We're going to stop for just a moment to take a break.
Yes.
But because when we come back, though, I'd love to start getting into some ideas and tools, some things that you do offer, and some things that our listeners can utilize, especially those who are thinking, I'd like to embark on this passion. I'd like to create this business. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. So
Okay.
Please stay tuned, and we will be right back after this brief break. I'm Sonia Barrett, host of The Expansion Zone. During this current crisis, KPFK continues to keep you informed, updated, and encouraged. From politics to health to food for the soul, these broadcasts continue. KPFK, more than ever, needs your help in continuing this mission. In the past, you have supported shows like mine, The Expansion Zone, and we ask that you remember the value of KPFK since 1959 and donate to this legacy in 2020. Whatever the amount, and if you can, do become a monthly sustaining member for less than the cost of your cable bill. To make your donation, please call 818-985-5735. We thank you for your continued support. And we are back. You're, of course, tuned in to KPFK 90.7 FM in Southern California, and you're listening to The Expansion Zone with Sonia Barrett. And, of course, that would be me, your host. And we're chatting with my guest today, Dihessa Bodjona, and we are talking about some very significant information here in terms of your energy field, your energy, the kind of focus that you're having, where your focus is placed, and particularly now in this time that we're in for your business and goals that you're wanting to set or have been setting, and where you go from here. And a lot of people are worried about, well, what's going to be on the other side of all of this for me. So yes, if you would, Dihessa, just dive into maybe some of what you offer, and also just maybe some tools that people can start to utilize now in shaping what they would like reality to look like for them.
Oh, absolutely, yes. So just like you said earlier, I know that we are living in such an uncertain times right now, and we may have the tendency to try to maybe worry about what tomorrow is going to be like, or getting like, it starts really with our emotions, right? Starting to worry, starting to think about, oh my God, tomorrow is uncertain. So one of the things that I always say is that
Lots of
no matter
panic.
like when, yes,
No, I said lots of panic.
lots of panic, yeah, lots of panic. So one of the foundation of everything, the foundation of creation, the way that I see it is like the starting with what I call like actually my teacher calls 0 point, right? Space of emptiness. No matter what's happening outside, knowing that I am okay, that we are complete, that no matter what's happening outside, we really, really have everything that we need, right? And I know that when we are in the physical realm, it's very difficult sometimes to accomplish, but one way, or to feel, but one way to actually get into that space is one exercise that I call 0 point exercise. It's really activating your own bioenergy. And so maybe I can actually, even though we are not on video, I can really guide you through. It's a very simple exercise.
That would be
minute.
wonderful.
Yes. And so no matter where you are sitting right now, so if you can, like with your fingertips, just clap your fingertips together. Clapping your fingertips together. If you are sitting down, make sure that your feet are on the floor, and that your spine is straight, right? Just clap your fingertips. You can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me tapping.
Clapping mine as well.
Yeah, good. Tapping your fingertips and then stimulating your fingertips. And then slowly stop, and then bring your hands about 3 inches apart. And focusing on your breathing in your lower abdomen. Now, focus on the space between your hands. When you focus on the space between your hands, you may feel tingling sensation, or you may feel vibration, or you may feel like a magnetic sensation or warm sensation. Whatever sensation you feel is just a sensation of your energy. When you feel this sensation, you are actually awakening your sixth sense beyond the 5 senses. It may feel like a balloon between your hands. Now slowly with your mind, tell your hands to move, open, bigger, and then close, come closer. Open and close. Keep going back and forth. As you're doing this, your own whole energy field is being activated. Your mind starts becoming calmer. Even your chest starts to become lighter. Now take a deep breath in, exhale, and come back. Did you experience it? What
That
did
was
you feel?
great. That was great. Yes, it's very similar to psyche techniques as well. But yes, I think it's really interesting. Yes, the focus, well, what you feel for one in your fingertips, and it does force you to be focused on this moment and what you're actually doing, and you can feel your fingertips coming together, and you can feel your hands separating each time that you give that thought or that command to some degree. Yes. So yeah, so that to me, that's what I felt. But it's a reflection, no doubt, of the power that we have to actually make those same kinds of shifts in our lives.
Yeah. So like when we feel that energy, what it's doing is actually it's calming our mind, right? The chatter that we had before, the worry that we had before, all of a sudden we can, like, especially if you do it a little bit longer, you can see that your mind is calming down, right? That
Right.
worry is calming down. You are connected to the part of yourself that knows that you don't have to worry so much. From that space, you can decide at any given moment, you can decide, you can choose. For me, that's the way that I look at it. At any given moment, no matter what the past has been, no matter what the present is saying right now, at any given moment, we can choose what we want to create for tomorrow, right? Every creation, whether it's in business, whether it's in life, whether it's in our relationship, everything that is going to be tomorrow, everything that's of our creation, start with what's choice. Start with us deciding without any attachment, deciding knowing that everything is possible. And so this is why, for me, this is the foundation of everything, because when you go from 0 point, when you go from empty space, right, you don't have the story of yesterday pulling you back. You don't have the story of today pulling you up, pulling you backward. You only have this empty space where it's like an empty canvas where you can create anything you want for tomorrow, right? And then the next step is choosing, deciding what it is that you want to create for tomorrow. And then again, like taking inspired action. For me, energy is everything. Even when I decide that tomorrow, this is what I would like, the reality that I want to be able to create for myself. Number one, I have to choose that from empty space. Number two, I know that I have to focus my energy on it, which means what? I have to really grow the energy, right? Even the energy that we keep talking about, where focused energy goes, creation happens. That energy is about, we have to cultivate that in our body, right? So when I talked about earlier about optimum energetic condition in our body, for example, the optimum energetic condition is to have so much heat in our gut, and then cool head and heat in our gut. And so when we have that, it's like in our gut area is where we have our magnetic energy, right? When most of us go around being very depleted from that energy, when it's like a magnet, right? So when I said I want to create that thing, right? And or I want to grow my business, or I want to have even 3 clients this week or 4 clients this week, and I'm completely depleted of that energy in my gut. What that means is that I don't even have the focus to figure out how am I going to get these 3 clients. What kind of actions do I need to take? Who do I need to call? Where do I get the inspiration from? But when we have enough energy in our gut area, it actually flows, right? It's like a magnet, like I said. When we have a magnet that is small, it can only attract things that are close to us. But when the magnet is big, it feels like the universe itself can rearrange itself to really like pull things from far away towards you. That's how like I kind of define it. And so you may be asking yourself, how do I grow that energy in my in my lower abdomen, which also many people call the second chakra. How do I grow that energy in my lower abdomen? First, let me share like how we deplete that energy. How we deplete that energy is by consuming so much information, right? Consuming so much information and not processing that information, though that kind of, whether it's through watching movies or watching YouTube videos or like doing trainings and tutorials and all that. We watch all this, we consume all this. That's one of the fastest ways to drain our energy, but we don't process it and we don't replenish that energy. So I do other things, like when I do trainings with clients or whoever comes to me. But like a simple way to do this, right, even before going to bed, for example, is to maybe put your hands on your lower abdomen and focus on your breathing. That's the simplest, right? Focus on your breathing inside of your lower abdomen. What does that mean? Where your mind goes, energy follows. When you have your hands on your lower abdomen and you're feeling your lower abdomen rising up and down as you're breathing in and out, energy is naturally flowing into your lower gut, into your lower abdomen. Right? So that's one of the simplest things that you can do to really manage your energy well, that you can utilize to use towards your goals and to use towards your business vision, for example. Is it making sense so far?
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. Yes, it's everything, it's in alignment with everything we talk about, and it's certainly in alignment with what I was saying earlier, because you and I had not spoken. But what I was speaking about with every day is new and dragging this baggage along. Yeah, so everything you're saying is definitely in alignment. And I like the fact that you pointed out this information overload, which is extremely huge now, with people just consuming so much very dense information at this time. That is definitely an energy drain, as you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. That's one of the fastest ways that we drain energy, actually. I remember when I was pregnant with my oldest son, this was years ago. This was like now 18 years ago or 19 years ago. He's 18 now. And back then it was Lifetime Movie Network. I don't know if it still exists, but back then
it's still there.
Yeah, back then it was my jam. That was my thing. And I remember I would go to this is how mundane and how really automated my life was. I remember I would wake up on Mondays. I'll go to work Monday through Friday. It was the exact same thing every single day. Monday to Friday, do the same thing, go to work. And then Saturdays and Sunday, I'll sit on the couch and just binge watch Lifetime Movie Network. Like it was the same story over and over again.
Like a ritual.
Say that again.
I said like a ritual.
Like a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like back then I had no concept of energy at all. I remember that like every time I was sitting on the couch and just watch, like binge watch Lifetime movie and only get up to go maybe like eat something and come back. Every single time, by the end of the day, I felt like I was like somebody beat me up. Like my body was aching. My body was so tired. And I didn't realize what it was. It's because through my eyes, I was leaking energy. Through consuming that much television, I was leaking energy, right? So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's a really significant point to make. Because yes, no, I completely get it. I mean, yes.
The sad thing is that's energy that I could have utilized for other more productive things in my life.
Right.
It's not that I don't watch TV anymore. That's not what I'm saying.
But you're not making it like a ritual where you're just on auto, and this is automatically what you do, and then you're drained, and
exactly.
then you don't know why you're so drained. But,
exactly.
And this is what's going on a lot for people right now, is because they're home and they're working, trying to work from home, those people who are working from home.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is the bombardment, and I do want to throw this in, but folks, don't keep the, what is it, the radio on the news station and go to bed and have it playing while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, I just have a big thing about that. When it's time to go to bed and you go to bed, it should be silence, and you should not have outside.
Because unconsciously we're also picking up on that information.
Yes, absolutely. And you start
Exactly.
dreaming about it. It's just, it's another way to drain your energy. You wake up and you're still tired.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, very powerful. Now, also let's give out your website address as well, and then let's talk about what we know, what some of the tools that you've said, but you know, just what you actually offer when somebody says, I'm coming to you to assist me for coaching, would you know?
Yeah. Okay, so my website is dihessa.com. If you go there, I have like plenty of actually free trainings also. If you go to dihessa.com/free, you can find a ton of free energy trainings. Almost every training that I do is really geared towards not only awakening your own energy senses, recovering the energy condition in your body so that you can have focus to take action. A lot of the times people come to me because they are, number one, having a hard time taking action because something is pulling them back, or something from the past. They just like, even though they decide, right, somewhere, somehow they feel stuck. They just can't move forward. And a lot of the time, like I said earlier, it has everything to do with our energy. So they recover their energy condition, and then they move forward with really focusing their energy on what they want to create, whether it's more clients in their businesses, whether it's more money in their lives, whether it's really, sometimes it's just finding more joy and more peace in their lives. Yeah.
Right. So the spelling is, what is it? Dehessa?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's
that's
D-I.
okay.
It's D-I.
Oh, D-I. I'm sorry. D-I.
Dihessa.com. Yes.
Okay. And so the other thing too is the distraction. Well, obviously everything that you just mentioned is part of that distraction that happens. And when we get sort of feel that we are challenged in really sitting down and trying to map out our business, or do the follow-ups, or the things that we say that we want to do, we find things sometimes to distract us so that we don't have to go and do it.
Yes.
And then you just plan on doing it again later, and then somehow we find a way to come up with a reason to not do it. Especially if you're new to working from home too. People that are new to it, it does take a certain discipline as well.
And also I have to ask, because hey, I'm all about energy. Again, just like I said earlier, if you find yourself being distracted a lot by things outside of yourself, it's because your energy is not grounded enough, right? This was, again, that's what I was sharing earlier. When my energy wasn't like, when I was completely depleted, I was distracted all the time. That's when you find yourself, when you have started like 10 different tasks, but none of it is completed. We all know when nothing is completed, like no creation happens, right? If it's not done, it's not going to give any results. And it's really like, my clients are so amazed when this changes for them, because a lot of people don't realize that my inability to focus has everything to do with how much energy I have or do not have accumulated in my lower abdomen. Everything. If it's depleted, we are up in the air. We dream a lot. We daydream a lot. We have a lot of beautiful ideas, but we'll have a lot of hard time concretizing or materializing is in the physical realm. Even if you look at it from the spirituality kind of angle, our like low abdomen, and even like what we call first energy center or second energy center, those two are connected to the earth, those two are connected to the planet Earth, which means the material world. When our energy is up and down and not focused and stuff like that in those two areas, it is so almost impossible to intentionally materialize powerfully the things that we want to materialize. So it is really all about energy once we do that. And the other thing also that I have to attack, I feel like there are so many different components to this, right? There is that element, but then there is also connecting so deep within ourselves to really notice and realize what do I want to do, right? A lot of times I know that when people get distracted, or when I used to get very, very distracted, around taking action towards a goal that I had, it's because the goal really was a goal that I felt like, oh, maybe that looks nice. Maybe it looks like nice from the outside. Maybe that's what's expected from me. Maybe that's what people think that I should do, right? Or keeping up with the Joneses, or whatever reason that I had at the time. But the moment that I connected deeply with my really true heart's desire, and that happened because I connected with myself energetically. The moment that it became very, very clear to me what I wanted to do with my life, it became a no-brainer. Taking action was not a big problem anymore, especially when I combined it with recovering the normal energetic condition in my body. Again, that what I'm talking about is warm, low abdomen, cool head, warm, low abdomen, cool head. But most of us, right, that's me oversimplifying it, but most of us have the complete opposite. Cool, like you're hot-headed, and cold, lower abdomen, which means you will have things like indigestions, too much information up here in the head, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that was very, very significant information once again, because there's a lot of people experiencing many of these different things and they have no idea why. And so that's why a lot of the external things, medication and so on, they don't really work because the real problem isn't addressed, and the symptoms sometimes go away, but the problem certainly will raise its head again in different ways.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is that most people come to me because they want to like manifest, because they want to become more active in their businesses and stuff like that. A lot of the times when they come to me, they don't tell me what physical condition they're having, right? And a lot of the times I hear things like, oh my God, like the biggest one that I've had is there was this lady that had fibromyalgia. And at the time, I had no idea what it was. And she had it, and I didn't know what it, like, I'm not a doctor. So she came to me and we were working on what we were working on. And then eventually she stopped taking her medication because she didn't need it anymore. And she reached out to me and she said to me, you know what, ever since we started working, I don't need my medication anymore. I had to stop because I don't feel the pain. Same thing, like I have so many gazillion stories like that. Or
Right.
Other lady who she actually was going to have surgery. She was going to have surgery for ovarian cyst, and everything was all done. And I had shared my own story about yeast infections and bladder infection and how I finally recovered the energy condition in my body. And after that, I haven't had any yeast infections or bladder infections. And so like I shared this exercise and then she did it. And she went back to the hospital after they scheduled her surgery. She went back to the hospital and they were going to do, I don't know what they call it, a radio or something like that, right before the surgery. And they found out there was nothing to do surgery for, right? Change your energy, change your life.
Absolutely. Because that's all it is. Everything is that substance, everything is. And, the thing that I am often saying is that you are the power plant. Everything about your life is plugged into you. It's
absolutely.
You're supplying the energy to support everything in your life.
Absolutely.
So where's I always say, where's the energy drain? Where, just like with your house. And you don't have proper insulation, you have the heat on, but then your power bill is high because the heat's escaping.
It's escaping. Exactly. That's such a beautiful analogy.
Yes. So
Yeah.
absolutely. So we all experience these different things. We have a few minutes, about 3 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But one of the things is when you said you have everything you need, I think that's the thing that some people have such a challenge with owning that, you know, because of all these programming, the stories that they have about why they don't have everything they need, or
Yeah.
to allow it all to show up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, the way that I look at it is, for me, in my own experience, the only way I've been able to feel this is from deep within. It's from really connecting to that, what I call the universal consciousness through energy. From that area, that only from that space, did I really start realizing that I have everything I need, that I am everything that there's nothing missing, that as a human being, I am complete
Right.
as a human being. And again, only through energy was I able to feel that. And so and what I've done for me personally is that because I kept doing it and I kept training and I kept connecting with that part of myself, then that part started really overflowing, taking over, kind of becoming being the driver, taking the driver's seat in my life. Even when this other part of myself is saying, you're not good enough, I can really pull this one up and say, oh yeah,
It overrides it.
It overrides it, and I can say, yeah, I understand why you will feel that way. That's my ego. I'm talking to my ego, right? Because I used to feel like even the ego was such a bad thing, but now I realize it's only part of me. It's just the pile of information.
And it's necessary too.
It's necessary, and it's only the pile of information that I have gathered. So if my ego is saying you're not good enough, I can tell my ego, I know where you're coming from, but it's okay. We got it from here. I'm right.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
We are there now. And once again, it's DIHESSA.
Yes.
.com.
Yes.
That's our website.
Yes.
I am so thankful to you for being here today. And
I'm so thankful for the invitation.
Yes, I look forward to chatting with you again. And, all of this wonderful information that you shared that's necessary, and the tool, the exercise that you gave, if nothing else, that will get you centered on the road to all of what you've talked about today.
So if you go to Dihessa.com, especially /free, where I have all the free trainings, I have tons of free trainings like that to get you there, to get you feeling from that space of, oh, I'm good enough now. And also to focus on to use energy for focusing on your goals and dreams, whether it's in general life or in business. So thank you so much for having me, Sonia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And of course, thanks to the listening audience. Thank you. Thanks to our engineer, D'Angelo Jones. And to hear the replay for this show and all others, be sure to go to theexpansionzone.com. I must remind you to please also subscribe to my YouTube channel. This will also be posted on YouTube. And of course, to find out more about me and my work, do visit therealsoniabarrett.com. As always, I like to remind you to live life to its fullest and question everything. Until next time, see you then.
Today